Hey there, Vikings Nation. Get ready to dive deep into the Skol state of mind. Join our host, D. Woods, as he shares his unfiltered takes on all things Vikings, from expert game analysis to player controversies and everything in between. If you love the Vikings for better or worse, then you've come to the right place. So grab a drink and let's talk all things purple and gold. This is the Skol State of Mind podcast.
Welcome to the Skol State of Mind podcast. I'm your host, D. Woods, and the Minnesota Vikings pulled one out in Atlanta. They are currently on a 4-game winning streak, and there's one game above 500. I mean, this team is rolling right now. I mean, considering all the moving parts, throughout the past couple of days with the quarterback situation, trading for a quarterback, Kirk Cousins going down, for the season with Achilles injury, I kind of feel like this team kind of banded together for what I would call one of the ultimate team wins that I've seen the Minnesota Vikings have. So let's dive a little deep into it. I mean, first off, Jaren Hall, prayers up to Jaren Hall. Hope he can get out concussion protocol in the next couple of days or to a week. I really hope we can see him, at center, going down the line, playing quarterback or whatever. That's no slight against Joshua Dobbs, but going into the Atlanta game, I was extremely excited to see what Jaren Hall could do. And also, I wanted to see if Kevin O'Connell and the coaching staff was going to trust him and allow him to make his mistakes and actually learn from those mistakes in game and kind of grow as a quarterback. Because, I don't watch a lot of college football, so I don't know, Jaren Hall's weaknesses or strengths, but I just was excited to see a quarterback, at center that was different than Kirk Cousins, that had a different skill set. I mean, Jaren Hall can scramble. He can do some of the other things that Kirk can do. And this is no slight against Kirk. Kirk is my guy. Kirk is a good quarterback, but Kirk's not here, and he's not going to be here for the foreseeable future. We don't even know if Kirk's going to sign another contract and be here next year. So I was kind of really excited to see in this game what Jaren Hall can do, because you never know. And it's like I said in my other videos, that basically you got to have this next guy up mentality, because if you really sit there and you think about it, Kirk Cousins was drafted in the fourth, fifth round with Washington, and they took RG3, second overall. So he was just basically there as a developing backup or whatever. But when Kirk got his chance, he flourished and he got better. He got franchise tagged twice. I'm not saying this is going to happen to Jaren Hall, but I do believe that you only get so many opportunities to showcase your talent and be that guy. I don't know if Jaren Hall is going to be that guy as of yet, but I just feel like I wanted him to take full advantage of those opportunities going forward. But Jaren Hall, wish you the best. Hope you get out concussion protocol in the next couple of days to a week, because I really want to see what you got on the field. And that play that he went down the field on with Alexander Madison, where the hell has that been in the playbook? I like that, and that was just something I could see that you can build on. And with the first drive that he had, I was like, damn, he kind of shaky. He looking like deer in the headlights or whatever. But when it got to the second drive, he had that big play to Madison. He kind of calmed down. So I was excited, okay, we might have something here. But then, he tried to scramble for the touchdown and got hit and out of the game. But let's move on. Josh Dobbs hype. All right. I am not going to be the bearer of bad news. I'm not going to sound like a hater or whatever. I liked what Josh Dobbs did at the end of the game, keeping us in the game. But you can tell, some of the cadences was off, or the play calling and the route running and stuff like that. And Jaren Hall did account for 3 turnovers. So even though, he won the game in a dramatic fashion, those 3 turnovers, he kind of dug the hole for himself. So let's see what Jaren Hall is going to do. Not Jaren Hall, excuse me. Let's see what Josh Dobbs is going to do this Sunday against New Orleans, because we all know Jaren Hall is probably not going to pass concussion protocol, and Dobbs will probably get the start. So I'm not finna be too high. I'm not finna be too low, but the guy has a spark. I can say that the guy has a spark. He's electric, especially the breaking the pocket, running plays, stuff like that. I thought that was pretty dope, but I want to see him actually get a grasp of this offense because I want to see our skilled players be able to contribute. I just don't want to see the quarterback back there running around. And there's no slight against him doing that or whatever, because I do understand he's just got traded to the Minnesota Vikings on Tuesday. Probably got with the team on Wednesday. So he's only had a couple of days to actually learn the playbook. So I can kind of see why the plays was like that. But at the end of the day, Vikings band together. They won the game, another win, notch in the win column, one game above by 500. So we got to keep rolling, baby. All right, we had some injuries, Sunday afternoon, KJ Osborne went out with a concussion. He got carted off. He seemed to be okay. I've seen videos of him in the locker room, rallying teammates up for the win. So it looks like he's going to be okay. But with the concussion thing, so I'm not sure if he's going to pass concussion protocol and be available for Sunday. So we just got to look at the news and see how that goes. Like I said before, Christian Darrisaw didn't play, so hopefully, we can see Darrisaw next Sunday against the Saints. But one big injury, a big blow, another guy out for the season is Cam Akers. Cam Akers tore his other Achilles on Sunday. As you know, with the Rams, he had an Achilles injury also that he was basically recovering from. He looked good. He looked a little shifty out there. He looked explosive, but he'll be going for the season, also with Kirk Cousins for an Achilles injury. And that's kind of wild to have like 2 Achilles injuries in 2 weeks back to back. I just wish, Cam the best and everything like that, because I feel like, the running game, I'm not going to say it was getting better. I was actually liking the fact how KOC basically was splitting the carries in the backfield. Basically, it was looking like 50% Madison, 50%, Cam Akers, and they was actually trying to build some momentum. And that's the thing with running backs. Like you got to be able to, let running backs build some kind of rhythm back there. But with that being said, with Cam Akers gone, I feel like we're going to have to start seeing more of Ty Chandler. I don't know what the hell's going on with Nwangu. I don't even know if they got to bring in Dwayne McBride off the practice squad or, find somebody else, because I really can't say find anybody else, because whoever's out there, on the free agency market has been sitting for like 9 weeks. So they ain't really in game time shape. So I think you're going to have to just roll with the running backs that you have, right now. When Ty Chandler does come in there, I do see him being a bit explosive and him having some bursts and stuff like that. I really don't know what it is that the coaches are looking for him to do. But as of him, like the ability of him, like running the ball, even him playing special teams, on a kickoff was, he's been kind of good with that. So I just want to see how Kevin O'Connell is going to do this running game going forward now that Cam Akers is gone, for the year. Me personally, I would like to see, maybe this game be more Alexander Madison and sprinkle some guys in here and there, just to kind of get them going. But I just feel like KLC has to be a little creative, try to find some kind of ways to get this running game consistent, because I really feel like when you have young quarterbacks in Jaren Hall and when you have quarterbacks that don't really know the offense in Joshua Dobbs, the best thing that you can have as their best friend is 2 things. You can have a great tight end, which you have check down with TJ Hawkinson, and you can have a consistent running game. I think that would help the offense move in the right direction. So I really want to see how Kevin O'Connell is going to, take the situation going forward. Now that we're talking about Kevin O'Connell, I got to give Kevin O'Connell, his just due, because I really feel like with what happened with Kirk Cousins last Sunday, with the Achilles injury, I feel like Kevin O'Connell and the coaching staff kind of banded together. They figured things out, and they had a game plan against Atlanta with Josh Dobbs, and that's what they're supposed to do. But no one saw that Jaren Hall was going. No one thought that Jaren Hall was going to go out in the second draft on the second drive and be gone for the rest of the game, and Josh Dobbs would have to play. I mean, it's the reason why they traded for Joshua Dobbs, because they thought he can contribute, stuff like that. But I feel like the coaching staff had no idea that Josh Dobbs was going to go in there. So I give Kevin O'Connell and the coaching staff some credit for basically like putting the pieces together and still putting able a game plan where the Vikings can be successful and basically, win the game. So I mean, I criticize Kevin O'Connell multiple times about his coaching structure and his play call and stuff like that. But this was a game where I said, like, damn, Kevin O'Connell is that dude, because he basically was like, okay, whatever we gotta do to win this game, we're gonna do it, and they did it. And then speaking about winning the game, let's talk about the defense. Watching that game, I feel like the defense made a lot of plays, and the defense was like the consistent factor with this team. And the defense kind of kept this team. The defense kept the Minnesota Vikings in the game. Like, they were playing balls out, lights out, whatever you want to call it. I mean, Brian Flores, what he's doing with his defense, considering that there's a lot of the same leftover guys that was with the Vikings team last year with Donatello, and they couldn't seem to get done. It's like Flores' schemes, it's like, he'll blitz some guys for a second, and then next thing you know, he'll drop 8 in coverage, and you don't know what to the ball. And it seems like he was only bringing 3 rushers multiple times throughout the game, and they still were getting home, which is fucking dope. Like, you only bringing 3 guys against 5, and you still getting to the quarterback. So I think this team is like, it's like rallying together. They believe in these coaches. Like, the culture in the locker room is real dope right now. Like, I really, really see that. And I think this defense is kind of flipped. Like, you would think, like, going into the season, basically that the offense was going to be like this high fly potent offense, and we haven't really seen it yet. So, but the defense has been the most consistent, keeping the Minnesota Vikings in the game. And I got to give it up for Brian Flores for coming to the Minnesota Vikings and actually fixing this defense. What I am worried about is, can we please keep Brian Flores for the next 2 to 3 years? I understand, he has a lawsuit with the NFL, whatever, but I do think that down the line, Brian Flores is going to be real, meticulous, to the point of where, like, he's going to find the right job for him. And I really feel we might have Brian Flores for the next 2 years waiting for the right job. All right. Looking forward. The Minnesota Vikings will play the New Orleans Saints, the Denver Broncos, and the Chicago Bears, and then have a bye week at week 13. Man, right now the Minnesota Vikings are basically 5-4. If the Vikings can squeeze out the next 3 wins, which are winnable games, they will be 8-4 going into the bye week after starting the season 0-3. Like, they would basically solidify a playoff spot, that 6-7 spot or whatever. We still don't know what it's going to look like, with Detroit or whatever, because we start playing them when we get back from the bye, multiple times at the end of the season. But who would have thought, like, there was talk, first couple of weeks of the season that Vikings should blow it up, trade guys, trade assets and stuff like that. But the thing about that, which is kind of different, is because players don't want to tank. GMs might want to tank for a draft pick or whatever, but players ain't gonna tank. And it seems like this team, like, the closer and closer they got to the trade deadline, it's like they just start playing better. They start banding together. I mean, shit, that win against, the 49ers, like, nobody saw that coming. But it's like I said before, like, if the Vikings can win these next 3 games into the bye week and go into the bye at 8-4, you're gonna have a playoff spot. Like, you're gonna have the 6 or the 7 playoff spot. I mean, we don't know what's gonna happen with Detroit, but the division is gonna be up for grabs. We don't know that yet. But just for them to be in contention or whatever, it's exciting. It's exciting. I'm not finna, like, I see a lot of people on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, on the Instagrams or whatever, basically saying, like, they getting this Case Keenum feel. Not yet for me. Not yet. But I'm just saying, like, man, through all the adversity this team has had, going, beginning of the season and losing close games and, shooting themselves in the foot. And to be 8-4, if they can be 8-4, with their bye, man, they basically salvaged the whole season. Like, for real, they basically did. So hats off to the Minnesota coaching staff, hats off to the players and stuff like that. And think about it like this, though, right? We don't win these 4 games without Justin Jefferson. We don't win one without Kirk Cousins. Just think, if Joshua Dobbs or Jaren Hall, considering who's the quarterback, once they actually can get acclimated and get their feet wet and kind of learn the offense, and then you get Justin Jefferson back, I mean, this team might be a force to reckon with, going down the line. But that's all I got for you guys today. Schedule, subscribe to the podcast. See me on X, see me on Instagram, see me on Facebook, all the social media. Hit me up if you got any questions for me and stuff like that. I really appreciate it. But I'm out for right now. Skol, baby.
Thanks for tuning into the Skol State of Mind podcast. Take a beat to give us a 5-star rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. Join us next time, and don't forget to follow Skol State of Mind on all social media platforms to keep up with all the news and updates. Thanks again for listening, and as always, Skol Vikings.